User left your channel. User joined your channel.
Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth round of the 2020 IVRC Open Wheel Championship. We're here today in the Long Beach at a very iconic circuit. We're catching the last few glimpses of qualifying. It's been a glorious event for Michael Teichmann so far. He's just returning to the pits. And let's see Pedro Lopez trying to attack. My name is Constantin Grimminger and I'm trying to take you through a hopefully exciting and promising race today around this very iconic, as I said, and historic racing circuit in California, in the USA, of course, in the very famous IndyCar inspired inspired OWC here at IVRC. And you can see Pedro Lopez already going fast once again, and it looks like I'm not experiencing any sound issues anymore. Thank you very much, Mark, for assisting me there. And Pedro Lopez now exiting the last corner. He's going onto the main straight, and let's see, can he beat Teichmann's time? No, he cannot. He improves his own time, but it's down by 0.74 of a second. And that means most likely that Michael Teichmann scores pole position. Gabriel Salomon with that very interesting livery only in third. Andre Leite is also on a quick lap right now, and that is surely his last one to pay, to score down. And we are looking forward to see what's going on. But but it doesn't look like André Leite can improve his time, and yeah. We'll say absolutely right. Hopefully after last time we will see a full race this time without any technical difficulties, but the track has been tested. It looks very good around today and without too much issues. As we can see, Philip Volland going very slow. I think he's returning to the pits as well. Brzezinski on a flying lap. Can he improve? Yes, he can. 2 positions up for him into P8 he is. And that must have been pretty much everyone. Oh, there's someone being pushed to the pits. Is that Gabriel Salomon who's been running out of fuel? I'm quite sure that's... Oh, wait. Pedro Lopez? No, he's gone around another time. Gabriel Salomon has actually run out of fuel. Yeah, race control was certainly not like that to see. And also quite sure we'll see a penalty following for him for the returning Danish driver who was left IVRC in the meantime, but now is back. And yeah, that's basically the end of qualifying already. 10-minute qualifying we have here. And we can see already the cones being kicked over. The race control already promised before the race that it's going to be penalized very hard. What's going on if you, yeah, you penalize very hard if you kick over those cones in turn number 6, that is, if I'm correct. If my maths are right, I calculated it correctly. Also, we see Pedro Lopez, who's the reigning, the current championship leader actually, being into and returnee Michael Teichmann, who has been running in OWC before, but didn't ever since round, I think, 2, on pole position, and that will surely promise a good race for today in a few moments time. We're just sitting in warm-up right now and waiting for the race to get started. And until then, I'll leave you guys alone with the cool waiting scene here prepared at the stream, and I'll speak to you in a moment's time. we are back with the live pictures here from warm-up, and we're watching Pablo Lopez. And yeah, Sven, we are absolutely jamming. Why are you not racing today? You're busy doing some FSR stuff. Anyways, I hope you all guys grabbed yourself a cool refreshment or anything like it in a very, at least, cozy day here in Austria for today. And I do have apologize for the technical difficulties we have seen in the very beginning. That's why we missed the most part of the qualifying. But yeah, it happens and it's all been solved, hopefully. And I think we are good to go. And as well as they say, bad start usually means good, right? So we are looking forward to see a good race. And currently the drivers are, of course, in warm-up and preparing for stuff they aren't supposed to do in the race. Just like Pablo Lopez tried to break away his front wing, which he did successfully, and he's now going back out again. While we watch Gustavo Brusensky with the new Bravo Racing Team livery. We're going around the back straight it is, basically, here in Long Beach. Very interesting circuit, of course, a lot of history around it. It has hosted Formula 1 in a very different layout in the 70s it is, I think. And yes, very, yeah, drivers are preparing, and I've heard from quite a lot of drivers before that there are different strategy options today. It's going to be very interesting to see how drivers apply them in the race. It's either basically a one-stop or two-stop over the course of the race distance, and I think we're gonna see two very different kinds of strategies going around in this race. And please don't wonder if someone drops like a stone at the very beginning. They are most likely going for one stop. And of course, with the strategy thing, or basically with some people being lucky in the last round with Cleveland, which had to be stopped after lap 23, and which, yeah, basically swerved some drivers up the order because they weren't in the pits. Most notably, it was Angel Gonzalez who won the race ahead of Pedro Lopez last time around, because Lopez was already in the pits and Gonzalez wasn't, which was very interesting to see how it all panned out. And I think quite some drivers will look forward or will try to stay out as long as possible in case something similar happens, but we certainly don't hope that happen again today, especially as last time was already a little bit of, yeah, unlucky, just to say so. And yeah, we saw just beforehand Gustavo Brusensky going through the cones and now over the yellow line at the pit entry, pit exit, of course, which is not allowed during the race, or neither during qualifying, of course, and will surely bring in some penalties. Philip Folland going around with a lot of front wing as well, and also ignoring track limits. Red line, this is the track limit for today. Of course, drivers will try to maximize that as much as possible around this track. And yeah, you can say Pedro Lopez now coming down the straight while one of the Moranta Racing cars was exiting the pits. I think it was one of them. And now you see why it's never allowed to go across this very yellow line at the pit exit. And very interesting to see during the race how people will cope with cones. I just said that. And yeah, waiting. Yeah, why are you not racing today? Just seen you active in the chat with your new nickname and you're not racing. It's very disappointing, man. Anyways, as I said before, Pedro Lopez now going around and trying not to kick all the remaining cones that Brusensky left there over. And yeah, track limits are of course an issue. One of the few street circuits where track limits could be an issue. And still, preparation, of course, ever so important as much as possible around these very famous American street circuits. And yeah, let's say Angel Gonzalez with his yellow and golden and black, I shall say, Rotterdam Racing car. We've seen his teammates just a few moments ago. Was it? No, it was Pedro Lopez. Oops, sorry. I'm so prone to mix these names up. Pedro Lopez and Pablo Lopez. One of them is a championship leader, And the other one is currently sitting in P9 in the championship. That's absolutely okay. Pablo, I'm quite sure you'll get there as once. Yes, I'm definitely in favor of mixing up these names for today. And yes, we're just eagerly waiting for the race to start finally. Until then, I think maybe important to keep you guys somewhat entertained as we stay sitting in the pits. Kenneth Ragland has joined the server. He missed fully fine. Very good to see him back once again. He was finally finishing a race, whereas last time around in Cleveland it was rampaging through the order in lap 1 before dropping like a stone right afterwards, which was very unfortunate to see. His pace has definitely been there and couldn't make worth of it. But I'm quite sure he'll try his luck once again today and bring in some points that are quite important to Repsol Senegal Racing for today. And he's already practicing quite good. The time's not too far off of his next opponent, but remember this is during warm-up and Ragland basically blatantly ignoring the track limits into turn 1. I hope Max Werker, if you're listening, just tell him that he should somewhat respect the track limits there. Otherwise penalty will follow, not only one but several. And yeah, apart from that, good to see him back. Also good to see Gabriel Salomon back. He's basically rejoining after a small adventure into GP VWC. Sorry, I'm already butchering up names. How the hell am I supposed to cope with Lopez and Lopez? Anyways, Salomon back for Moranta Racing, and he's trying to impress once again, just like he did in Sonoma, where he had a very good race but paid off due to the high tire wear catching him out. And he'll surely try to be better off this time as well. And other news, OS Front Row are racing new liveries today, which aren't updated in the spotter guide yet, but will do very soon. Lasse Taylor is also with us today, and Thomas Raschke is also joining for today. I think it's the first time around. Yes, it is, for CFOS Racing, newly signed up driver. And he's making his debut in OWC today. Will be very interesting to see how he copes with all the difficulties that will face him for sure during the races. Carlos Frau with the new MPG competition library, which already rumors have said that it would change once again for the next race, at least his livery, but we'll see how that goes for the next race, which is of course in the 250 here at IVRC. But for today, we're looking forward to see a good race here at Long Beach first, and then basically any other racing action. Well, we see Carlos going into turn 1, Carlos Frau, of course. And Pedro Lopez, after getting the fast time spinning into the wall, losing his rear wing. And time has been stopped, at least for the guys in the pits. Time is run down, so we are just ready to go racing. Right now, the session has advanced already, as we saw before. And we are certainly looking forward to see some good racing action as the game syncs up. And I'll just quickly go through the grid as soon as they are all on the way. Only 19 drivers, that's a new low, I think, for OWC. But nevertheless, the quality is definitely there and should show today also. Should also show some good racing going on. Okay. But luck, Sven. I mean, these cars aren't your favorite, but you also won the first race. That's very interesting to say, comparing to other people's favorites apparently. And yeah. Also, very big shame about your PC, Joey. But hey, here we go. Okay, we are preparing for the race start, quickly going through the grid as soon as they got in the way. I very luckily can't control the cameras here, that's unfortunate. But hey, here we go. Formation lap has apparently started, which is a good thing. And we are getting through into the formation lap and into a hopefully very good race as I run you quickly through the grid. Also, Michael Teichmann starting from pole position this time on a flying start later on this lap, ahead of championship leader Pedro Lopez, who's surely trying to maintain his lead in the championship. Basically, it's impossible for him to lose it right now. Gabriel Salomon, as said, on return, starting in third later, as he is followed by Andre Leite, the best running OS front row car, followed by the teammate of Leite, Felipe Muniz, starting in fifth, who still has to finish one of the races around. And Pablo Lopez starting in sixth ahead of Antonio Isaias, another OS front row car. Then we have Gustavo Brusensky starting from 8th, Lucas Miranda from 9th, and Philip Volland rounding out the top 10 in the MPG competition car. Then we have Angel Gonzalez in another one of the Rotoros Racing Team cars. Richard Wanders, he's running currently second in the championship, only starting from P12. He'll surely try to work his way up the order. Bernard Ruiz, the Polish driver, so for the sole Team Bernie entry, starting in 13th ahead of Laszlo Teglas, also running solely for his team today. Jonathan Holland will start in 15th, just ahead of Carlos Frau in 16th. Donatas Beato, another one of the OS front row cars, in 17th, ahead of Thomas Raschke, the debutant in C-Force Racing, making it up for finally 2 cars for the team. And the last on the grid for today is Kenneth Ragland, who will start in 19th. Yeah, we can see already the cars are in formation, and we are all looking. Oh, the safety cars going super slowly here. I hope not everyone has banged into the wall, and we can now see the cars taking formation out of the hairpin. Everyone's trying to catch up. I think Brusensky, actually Lopez, is allowed to move up a little bit further, but it looks like the cars are accelerating already, and it's been a good start for Michael Teichmann. He's already, however, been challenged by Lopez, who's still running with him around the outside. There's also Salomon round. Oh, and there's been Lopez going into the wall, quickly trying to catch up to him going off, but he's still running, has still all his parts remaining. And yes, that's how fast it can go sometimes. But Michael Teichmann has maintained to stay in the lead, and now is being chased by Gabriel Salomon in second, ahead of Anderlecht, who's already moved up 1 position. Pablo Lopez, however, moved up 2 positions, so someone has dropped down the order quite a bit. Brusensky up 3. Muniz has lost 1, and we have now Philip Volland moving up 2, ahead of Gonzalez. Sorry, mixing up the names already, and there must have been a majorly. Oh, he was basically spinning off on accelerating. That's been a very interesting start. Wonders and Berto were already in the pits, and it looks like Teichmann is now finishing. Oh, there's been a contact between Salomon and it must have been Leite right behind him. That gives Teichmann the chance to breathe a little bit and run away with the lead for the moment. He's already 1.3 seconds ahead, and now let's see how the drivers cope with going into turn 1 for the first time with a little bit warmer tires, and looks like everyone was basically well through it. Leite regained the position he originally lost to Lopez just a few moments ago, and is now trying to break away from the Spanish driver right behind him. 1 out of the 56 laps done, and we are looking forward to see what the race delivers from now on. Leite running a little bit wide there, and there's been a huge fight going on in the mid-pack, including some of the OS front row cars, and I think, there was Philip Volland looking to the inside of Isaias for a brief moment, but thought better of it instead of dive bombing him. Let's see what's going on in the back of the field. Holland up in 13th, Frau made up already 2 positions as well. Ragland up 4, that's quite a big jump. Where's Pedro Lopez gone, championship leader, down into 12 after that huge lock-up into turn 1, but he's already recovering quite a lot of places, and now looking forward to see the front of Teglas in his rear view mirrors in a few moments time. Back to the front as the cars approach turn 1. Teichmann running a little bit wide there for my taste, but hey, that's not up for me to judge. And there's been a car into the wall. Brusensky has lost his front wing and now is trying to back up to rejoin the racing action. Yeah, turn 1, of course, catching out already 2 of the Bravo Racing Team drivers. And there's been Teglas giving way for Brusensky. That was confusing. And also Pablo, I'm mixing it up. Pedro Lopez trying to profit from it, and he did very well. And Brusensky, of course, just letting him pass and now not defending too hard against Teglas, And he's into the wall again. Oh man, his start is turning from bad to worse at this point, and now he's trying to recover it to the pits. That will surely make up for some good strategy options. Oh, there's another one into the wall of the Bravo Racing Team cars. Jonathan Holloran has been into the wall, and I think he was involved in some kind of squabbling with Kenneth Ragland as Bernard Roos tries to profit from the mistake Holloran just did a few laps ago, a few corners ago, one corner ago to be precise, and Teichmann in the meantime driving the fastest lap. Everything's going quite chaotic at this point, very hectic. But I'm sure I'm able to catch up at any moment in time. So the lead between Teichmann and Solomon has stayed the same over the course of the last 2 laps, and Leiter is still staying with them as well, while the gap to Pablo Lopez, who's trying to chase him down once again, has increased slightly. He'll surely not be too happy about it, but then again, running in field 4th is the highest that he's ever raced in OWC so far. But we are just in lap 4, so quite a long time to go. Should be around 1 hour this race in total. Let's see, is Gabriel Salomon able to bounce back against Teichmann? Looks not like it. Salomon has already lost 3/10 this lap, and basically I've just jinxed him, didn't I? There's already a car very slow off the line in the lead. Sorry, no, of course not off the line, but basically in front, racing in front of Teichmann. Let's see, must have been one of the US front row because it's Jonatas Beatu who's just been into the pits at the very beginning. Teichmann once again ignoring the yellow line and the pit exit. It's never allowed to go over there under any circumstances. So yeah, race control will surely try to look into that. As we can see, just ahead, Brzezinski versus Beatu, and there's been a cone flying, which is also been said as an absolute no-go. And Beatu just backing up from the fight that's been going on and letting the leaders pass. Very sensible decision, at least that works quite well. And now Brzezinski basically has to do the same, give way for the leaders. Of course, it's American open wheel racing, so blue flags don't apply in that hard as it does usually in European races. So Brzezinski basically just recognizing, hey, he's faster than me, but I'm not letting you go that easily. So Teichmann already has overlapped 2 cars, and let's see what's going on behind them. It looks like a 3-way battle for P5 at the moment between Felipe Muniz, Antonio Saez and Philip Forland, who are racing on board with in the Motul MPG competition number 13 entry. And he's basically a little bit too far away, but Isaias isn't, and he's trying to attack his teammate into turn 1. Can he stop it in time? He does, and breezes past quite well. Of course, not fighting against so hard against his teammate is Muniz, and basically just letting his currently faster teammate go. Very sensible decision from the Brazilian, of course, letting his countrymen go by as well. Okay, back to the front a little bit. For a brief moment, you can see the gap has already extended to 2 seconds, and as I said before in the pre-race coverage, it's been a tale of basically 2 different strategies, and we'll say perhaps Salomon is on a different strategy, but then again Teichmann was quite dominant in qualifying, so basically what can happen right now is either Salomon being on a very different strategy or Teichmann just showing off the dominance he has around the street of Long Beach, California. And he's going around to finish lap 6 out of 56, so just 50 more laps to go. And we are already, seeing good fights going on for positions as we are riding on board with Angel Gonzalez. Looking back to Pedro Lopez, championship leader, of course. He was overlapping some cars. Oh, there's been a yellow ahead. Oh, there's been a major incident under the light. And there's another one of these Bravo Racing Team cars involved, and I think it was it Pedro Lopez? No, it wasn't. Is that an overlapped car? We'll quickly check the replay to see what has happened right there. Number 12, that's Jonathan Holloran. It was indeed a lap down. Is it number 12? I can't see it properly, unfortunately. Looks like it, but Leite basically... Oh, that's very, very, racy, at least. Clearly misunderstanding between these 2 drivers with the very much worse end for Leite, and he's dropping like a stone, of course. Very unfortunately, but he can just go back to the pits, try to repair and not spin it once again, and then control traction in this race and make up for the positions he lost. Let's see, Michael Teichmann posting once again another fast lap with a 108. and running once again wide into turn 1, just passing through the scene of the incident we saw a few moments ago. At this point, it looks like Gabriel Solomon is basically just saying, hey man, he's getting the penalties for the cuts afterwards, and I'm just staying here, see what I can do for myself. Also, Pablo Lopez is just running in 3rd right now, so that must have been something happening as well. Or was it the incident with Isaias? It must have been. Anyways, Lopez up into 3rd. Currently, finally profiting from his capital in terms of speed, of course, and he's running in 3rd right now and trying to stay in front of the 2 OS front row cars following him, which are in fact Antonio Isaias and Felipe Muniz, and Philip Folland just up into 6th already. He's just staying there and having a good time around the circuit and see where it brings him. Let's see, Lucas Miranda trying to defend from championship leader Pablo Lopez. I made it right this time, didn't I? And yes, we can see Miranda trying to defend from a very superior pace-wise Pedro Lopez, sorry, the Brazilian of course. And they are going side by side into turn 1. Lopez, oh no! Lopez and Miranda tangled up, and once again Lopez spins in turn 1. Now has to try to get out of the way of the oncoming traffic, and Lopez certainly will not be happy about how that went exactly. And I guess he'll be fuming about the OS front row car that was just basically running him over. At least it looks like from that perspective, but of course 2 drivers will tell 2 different stories. And let's see, Lopez now running behind Lucas Miranda. He's been was it the guy? No wait, that's an overlap car, sorry. That must have been Jonathan Sperto, who's just trying to basically run his race. And Teichmann once again improving the fastest lap, now closing into 107s, but not quite. Just 2 thousandths of a 10-second off, sorry, and Lopez just clearing lap car in into the final section of the circuit, and now he's trying to run down the gap between him and Lucas Miranda in front, who's been just had contact with. So Van Gelot saying that Gabriel Salomon just decided to race in... there's been a fight going on for P3. Totally missed that, but here we are, just jumping straight into the action. And the OS front row sandwich is now a thing for Pablo Lopez, running in 4th right now, being demoted 1 place by Antonio Isaias. And there's another one coming on. It looks like... I'm mixing up names all over the place today. Felipe Muniz has been trying to profit from that as well, and Lopez dropped 2 places in the space of just basically 2 corners, and he's been demoted to 5th by the Brazilian forces just ahead of him. And of course, slipstream is always a chance to pounce back, and but let's see, is Lopez able to capitalize from it? Doesn't look like it. He's quite a lot faster, but I don't think he's close enough. No, he's not. He's thinking better of it. Into turn 1, of course, the car ahead of him, braking a little bit later actually and running a little bit wide, but can stay there. No chance for Lopez to capitalize on that anyways. And very, very interesting to see how stuff panned out at this very moment. Didn't expect to see Lopez dropping down 2 places in just such a short while. As we see, the fight for P12 is going on right there. But no, that's an overlapped car. That must have been Holohan. And I'm getting a phone call, which doesn't help. Let's see. Anyways, back to the racing action. We have currently in P5 Pablo Lopez trying to bounce back once again, but he once again isn't close enough to Muniz in front of him. And now he is actually the very good exit out of the last corner will actually help him, as we once again right on board with him, but I don't think he's close enough this time by either. And of course Muniz getting the slipstream of his teammate just in front of him as well. So no, Lopez not able to close in enough on the 2 OS front row cars in front of him. So yes, actually Jose, sorry, but Pablo was running in 3rd for quite a bit. But nevertheless, Salomon, apparently he's been told that there are track limits in turn 1. Oh, look at that, the gap has come down once again a little bit. No, has it increased? Is that another car in front? Yes, it has increased slightly over the course of the race distance at least. 2.6 seconds, 2.5 seconds right now. It's not increasing by much, but ever so slightly, just a little bit every lap after lap after lap, and that leads to, of course, an advantage of 2.8 seconds for Michael Teichmann. Let's see, does Teichmann respect the track limits into turn 1? That's always the question, and he does not this time either. It's a hard limit, you can't go over the yellow lines, not even with 1 wheel or 2 wheels. So yeah, Salomon respecting the track limits actually, and that means he's been good off so far. Let's see, there's Angel Gonzalez, who's running ahead of Lucas Miranda, and once again Pedro Lopez trying to find a way around Lucas Miranda, and he'll surely be not too happy about his Brazilian countryman just in front of him, and then the Spanish driver just ahead. Lopez trying to catch them as soon as possible. Of course, he's now getting held up by it, and by both of them, of course, and he's clearly the fastest one in this small group, but catching up is one thing, passing another, as we just saw beforehand. And yeah, Miranda once again running a little bit wide, and Lopez wasn't, however, able to capitalize on that either. So Lopez has to be patient for another brief second. Now running down this, yeah, I don't know, this is a back straight. It's quite hard to say to call. Anyways, Lopez once again a little bit of tangling and just in front of him. And he's been involved in that as well. Oh, into the hairpin on the inside. That's a brilliant move if you can pull that off. But now the run down to turn 1 will decide. Of course, none of them has enough slipstream. I think Lopez has it for the moment, running down the shorter way. And yes, clearly it does. I think Miranda basically just said, okay, I've ramped you off, or at least we collided. Just have you go and see what you can do. And we'll see later on about that. And yeah, that basically moves up Pedro Lopez 1 position, finally running back into P8, and now is trying to catch Angel Gonzalez in front of him. As I see Miranda struggling quite a lot on the tires in the background. I think the tires have already hit the first cliff. There are basically 1 or 2 cliffs in the tire behavior, and the first one happens very soon. We're already in lap 14. So that's quite possible while Teichmann posts the fastest lap of the race, so never mind what I just said. Tire degradation. Oh, Lopez, look into the inside in that corner. It can end in tears, but it does not this time. And Gonzalez leaving the door miles wide open while they tangle up once again. Lopez been very aggressive this time by. I think he's just super unhappy, let's say that, with the collisions he had in the turn 1, and now he's gonna have a good run once again as we run on board with Gonzalez, who's trying to keep the inner line into the very first king basically, but now into the first corner. That becomes the outside line, and that gives way for Pedro Lopez in front of him, and that basically means Gonzalez can't do anything about it but trying to pounce back at the back straight or at the longer straight later in the lap, but he's not able to stick with Lopez in front of him. So that means for the moment Pedro Lopez up into 7th once again, and Angel Gonzalez down and now has to defend of Lucas Miranda, of course, in 9th currently. Let's see for the front running guys. Antonio Zayas and Felipe Munoz still staying close. Oh, there's been a huge lag. I wonder if that has been some guy crashing into the wall, some car basically, but it doesn't look like it. Everyone's still running fine apparently, and oh, there's a good fight in the very low parts of the field. Fighting for the last place are Richard Wonders for Moronta Racing and Kenneth Ragland for Repsol Swinigal Racing, number I don't know which number it is, Repsol Swinigal Racing car at least, and Ragland going from the inside into turn 1, but Wonders is not too far away. I'm sorry, I don't remember what the positions were before this fight has started, but it looks like these guys are very similar in pace and actually trying to fight it out for P15 on track right now. Let's see. Has anyone come into the pits yet? No, it doesn't look like it out of the top running group, basically, of course. We have seen quite a lot of pit stops happening at the lower end of the field, and we also see Andre Leiters DNF'd. Sorry that I missed that, but it also has happened already in lap 15 as I just look back on the stream. Sorry to miss that. We'll try to catch up as soon as possible with that and give you the reason why he DNF'd. And yes, his teammates running in 3rd and 4th currently, so he can be happy at least about that. Also, it is not his personal race, but hey, here we go. Quickly going through the field, let's see. Angel Gonzalez versus Lucas Miranda is still quite a fight. These guys have been racing against each other in have they? As Miranda now thinks about it into 2-1, but Gonzalez hangs around the outside. Now they go into the fountain corner, and Gonzalez with a lot of wheel and bodywork banging stays in 8th for the moment, but it looks like Miranda is the fast one out of these two. So perhaps he can stay where he was beforehand. Well, I'll try to put the lights on. Very, very interesting way to commentate races, of course, in the home office these days. And Miranda, clearly the faster one, at least from the onboard. If he doesn't do any mistakes, he should be by at the next big chance, which is, of course, the start-finish straight and king towards turn 1. And Miranda trying to save his tires basically in the dirty air that he's of course running in right now. Dirty air is a thing in these cars, at least from my experience, but not so much around, of course, a street circuit. And looks like Gonzalez had a better exit out of this out of the last corner this time by, so Miranda shouldn't be too close enough. But let's see. Is he close enough? He's thinking about it, showing himself in the rearview mirrors, but that doesn't work for sure. And Miranda thinks better of it, just saying, hey, I'm there, Angel, watch out, and I'm coming for your P8 right now. And let's see what's going on back in the field. There must have been another pit stop by at least someone. Was it? No, I've just totally messed that up. So Brusensky, after all his issues, he's still running in 18th. And Teichmann's also still running in the stove. Another fastest lap tire wear is absolutely not an issue for him, apparently. He's just running on absolute fine cold tires at the moment. And let's see. Oh, there's been a mistake or a pit stop. No, it was a pit stop by Gabriel Salomon. The first one out of these few top running guys to pull in and say, I'm going to go to the pits. Pablo Lopez continues around. And so does Philip Volland, moving up into 5th. So let's see where Salomon comes out. And of course, an ever so long pit straight. It's absolutely, it's absolutely frustrating to see everyone breezing by and you're just sitting there like a slow duck and can't do anything about any one of you overtaking. As you can see around the circuit, some of these guys fighting. We will catch up with that any moment's time. As you can see, Gabriel Salomon exiting the pits in P9. He was about 3 seconds behind Teichmann. Let's see how this will pan out over the course of the remaining race. Also, there's been a yellow flag around at the last corner. Let's see if you can see that. Yep, that's clearly a Bravo Racing Team car. I think that's Holohan once again into the wall. Try to catch up to that. Well, as you can see, Teichmann still running around. Isaiah's not going into the pits, but Felipe Muniz is. From P3, he goes into the pit lane for his first pit stop, and so does the Bravo Racing Team car without the front wing right behind him. So that's a regular stop for Muniz, and I think rather unplanned pit stop, sorry, for, let's see, is it, as Laszlo Tigas, we can see exiting the pits. Yes, it was Jonathan Holohan just into the pits as well to get his nose cone changed, and that should give way for his teammate Gustavo Brusensky, as Jonathan Asperto is now running in the last place. On track right now, of course not in overall, but on track. Let's see. Where did Felipe Muniz come back to the track? It looks like, no, he didn't rejoin so far, but he's exiting the pits in 8th right now, and there's been another car going by. Was there someone in the wall? Yes, there's someone standing in the pit exit. That's not good either, is it? Who was that? Let's see. While Pedro Lopez, tangles up with the freshly exiting, on the fresh tires, Laszlo Teglas, of course. Cold tires are not helping in any way, as you can see. Antonio Isaias now coming to the pits while Teichmann goes around once again. It's absolutely crazy how this guy can continue with these 20-lap-old tires, 19-lap-old tires, I shall say, plus the formation lap. But I think one of these Bravo Racing Team cars, as Moose tries to find a way around a lap-down car, was it Brusensky once again? That would have been very unfortunate. But let's see, once again, is where Isaias comes out. Is he staying ahead of Muniz? That's of course a big question for him. And as these guys were quite on pace with each other. And pit stop clearly in favor of Lopez so far. As you can see, the other Lopez, sorry, what am I saying? Isaias so far, and Muniz just coming down the pit straight right now. So, with the tires still warming up, was there Isaias going over the... No, that must have been another car. With all these always front row cars, it's getting quite confusing sometimes. Of course, the tires of Isaias are not up to temperature, but it looks like he made up a good chunk of time over his teammate in the pit stops. So, let's see. Where was Pedro Lopez coming out? Right behind the pack of Frau and Moose, who are of course still going to the pits at any moment's time as well. And let's see if the leader still goes around. Yes, he does. He's absolutely trying to squeeze everything out of these tires as he goes by. Ooh, Brusensky once again. That would have been close. I think closer than Teichmann actually wanted it to be. But that means he's been now chased by one of the Lopez's in second. So yeah, the Bravos worst luck. Yeah, surely that doesn't help to lose your front wing. Doesn't help your luck either. Very unfortunate, but these guys are still not giving up, and it's quite the race, the spirit which we want to see. So let's see, Teichmann going around once again. I think he's just basically ignoring the tire wear at this point. Let's see, does he do another fast lap? Maybe. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. 1 minute 9.3. That's basically 1.5 seconds off his fastest lap, and thus the fastest lap of the race. So he's quite affected by tire wear, but not as much as that he goes to the pits. Philip Folland now up into third for the moment, and of course he still has to go to the pits as well. And I think he'll stay on the one-lap strategy, a one-stop strategy, of course, as well as the cars ahead of him. Angel Gonzalez still going around as well, and he's holding up Gabriel Salomon, who's apparently a little bit quicker, of course, and a lot fresher tires as we go on board with the Danish driver. And Gonzalez basically just saying, hey man, you're quick anyways, let's go, give me some slipstream, and then we're good to go. And Salomon, retaking fourth position for the moment with 2 cars ahead of him, surely going to the pits at any moment's time. And of course Teichmann has to pit as well, but he will most likely stay ahead. But then again, as we've seen between the OS front row cars, can lose quite a lot of time going into the pits. So Salomon still everything on his hand as well for the race victory, as long as Teichmann doesn't mess up. However, it looks like it's going to be a good chunk of time that Teichmann will make in the pit stops. Let's see, Lopez and Teichmann still going around. Salomon was in the pits already. Folland will not pit this lap either, at least not from what I could tell, if we're going to do a one-stop strategy. So, between them and the Aus front row car, sorry for switching the cars too often. Isaias running in 6th currently, 5.6 seconds up his teammate Felipe Muniz. As I said before, the gap when Isaias was exiting the pits was about 7.6 seconds, so basically he lost 2 seconds on cold tires. So cold tires are affecting people quite a lot, and yeah, you can make up or lose a lot of time if you're not absolutely on point with your pit exit lap. But that being said, Carlos Frau still going around as well. He must have been on a one-stop strategy as well. But Pedro Lopez is now dropped down to 9th and cleared Bernard Moose just behind him. Now it's trying to set his eyes on Carlos Frau ahead of him. Once again, he has a Spanish driver in front of him, and trying to clear him up as soon as he can, which look at the spirit grip Lopez has. And there's been a slow OS front row car, that must have been one of the lapped cars, that was Jonathan Sperto once again. And Frau actually trying to trying to stay, or at least giving some good fight against Lopez. But yeah, with the superior grip levels that Lopez has, it doesn't have much of a point to defend that much, as Gonzalez basically just showed us a few laps ago when he let Salomon pass his rival for position even. But of course he's on a different strategy, or was on a different strategy than the car that just passed him. Okay, so Lopez once again cleared another driver, and he's now 9 seconds down Felipe Muniz. So quite a lot of time to go for the next position. This is for an actual position without the pit stops. Well, basically pit stops cleaned up. So the next one on the same strategy as Peter Lopez is also next car up the road in P7 it is. Isn't there someone to the pits? No, I'm just messing up times once again. Let's see. Angel Gonzalez is still staying out. So does Teichmann and Lopez. And actually staying out? Yes, he does. So let's see. Philip Fant going around once again. It's quite not time for a one-stop strategy so far, of course. The best point is to stop at exactly the halfway time of the race. But we already drove more laps around, and more time has passed as in Cleveland. So that's good news, at least on that end. And it looks like the server is stable for basically, yeah, for good racing action, as we've seen. And you can see now Isaias is that for position. No, it's not. It's some overlap car. It's Holohan once again, giving way for another faster driver. Sorry, it's Brusensky actually. Oh, nearly going into the back of his countryman. He did that before with another. No, wait, actually it was the other way around. Brazilians killing each other from for the championship. But here we go. Isaias safely through. And let's see if there's some huge fight going on. It doesn't look like it. It looks everyone being slightly spread apart at this point. But it will certainly come together at the very end of the race for sure, with all these different strategies panning up. At the moment, if I have to take a guess, I would say I would put all my money on Teichmann for the moment. But as I said, everything can happen around pit stops. And yeah, as long as Salomon is able to capitalize on his way fresher tires, he's still in for a good shot for the race win. And of course, that also counts in traffic, as now Salomon is slowly but steadily calling up the back of Philip Volland in the NPG competition number 13 entry. Of course, Gustavo Salomon. I'm already mixing up countries as well. Gabriel Salomon in the number 22, or is it 222? 222 Moronta Racing car in on return, of course, to the series, trying to impress drivers around him and saying, hey, I'm definitely on pace, and my GPWC stint wasn't for nothing. And yes, Teichmann is into the pits, and so did not Pablo Lopez, who's going around once again, but Teichmann was into the pits and giving away the lead for the first time around this race. And it looks like, where you can see, is that he stays ahead for the moment of Gabriel Salomon, who's just coming around the final, the first king basically of the circuit. But Teichmann is only 2 seconds ahead on stone cold tires, and he has an overlapped car on his back, which is certainly a lot quicker than him anyways at the moment. So Teichmann has to absolutely nail this outlap to stay where he is right now. The gap has already shrunk down to 3.5 seconds. Salomon has just taken Volland. Volland basically giving way to another driver who's basically faster on fresher tires. So let's see, the gap has already come down by another second, or basically a second in total, ever since Teichmann has exited the pits. And look at the superior speed that Salomon has around the kink onto this straight right here. And it's very impressive to see how the tires make the difference at the point. It looks like gap will come down to 2 seconds by the end of the lap, and then, however, Teichmann is up to temperature. So for the moment, at least, maybe not Teichmann himself, but his tires at least. And yeah, gap is pretty much below 2 seconds at the moment. Remember, it was about 2 or 3 seconds when Salomon entered the pits. So for the moment, it looks like Salomon is the quicker driver out of these two and will stay the quicker one, but there's an overlap car, not anymore between them, and Salomon has now opened up the chase to Teichmann in front of him, and he's still a lot quicker than Teichmann, so definitely now getting affected by slipstream at any moment in time, and Teichmann knows what's going on. He has to stay in front of Salomon, perhaps not by all costs, but as many costs as he can take, and many risks, of course, as he can take. Teichmann absolutely stone slow at the moment, and Salomon absolutely flying towards P1 and towards the rear of the TR Motorsports car in front of him. TR Bluver's Motorsports car, as I shall say, in front of him. And let's see, can Salomon have a good exit out of the final hairpin? Doesn't look like it. A little bit of tire rubbing of Teichmann, but Salomon is staying there, and he's now definitely pulling up to the rear of Teichmann in the slipstream in the number 222 Moronta Racing car. Looks like Salomon can brake so much later. Oh, Teichmann a little bit into the wall, so he's showing nerves and saying, hey man, cool that I'm in the lead, but you're a little bit too quick for me at the moment. And all these look Teichmann into the wall once again. That's certainly not helping him or his aero damage. Of course, aero damage is a thing also in open wheeler cars. Suspension damage has been basically turned off by the mod itself. That's what we always do at IVRC, and just look at Salomon catching up at Teichmann in front of him, and now he has a good chance if he can nail the exit out of the last hairpin, if not even earlier. If Teichmann keeps on doing mistakes, a lot of lockup, a lot of tire smoke emitting from Teichmann, who has to save tires if he wants to make it a one-stop. In the meantime, Salomon nearly going into the rear. It did look like it was going to the rear. Salomon wheel spin at the exit, but he's a lot closer than he was before, and he perhaps can capitalize on it. In the meantime, as I wanted to say, Volland has been into the pit, as well as Pablo Lopez, and now Teichmann has to defend very much, and you can see Salomon in his rear wing mirror as large as ever, and Salomon's absolutely... Whoa, Teichmann into the wall once again, and as he's coming into the downturn corner, of course, here at Long Beach. That's absolutely interesting to say, the circuit. Pedro Lopez with the faster lap of the race, so Teichmann has been dethroned at least there as well, and Salomon is looking forward to dethrone Teichmann from P1 as well. But it does look like he's also been affected by dirty air a little bit, and Teichmann's tires are definitely up to temperature ever since a few laps ago. So at the moment it looks like Salomon basically cannot get his grip too far off. Ooh, look at the braking point difference that Salomon can basically rip off Teichmann. Teichmann had to brake so much earlier, but the gap stayed more or less the same time by. Salomon trying to have a good exit out of the hairpin, and this time it's once again 0.5 seconds, half a second between them. So that means if nothing goes wrong for Teichmann, he will stay there. But look at the slipstream affecting the cars. Now Salomon is coming ever so closer. Will he look to the inside? No, he's not this time by as well. There's been a good fight for the lead going on. But let's not forget about all the drivers behind them. As we can see, gaps are quite close in the midfield as well. Now back to the leaders, and they are chasing each other down. Salomon absolutely trying to pressurize Teichmann as much as he can, and that's exactly what he needs to do to basically let Teichmann ruin his tires if he wants to. If Salomon has to pit again, that's exactly what he needs to do, because he can have fresh tires at the end and Teichmann cannot. So he basically has to ruin Teichmann's tires as much as possible. But it looks like Teichmann refound his rhythm at the moment and is able to actually run away a little bit from Salomon in second. And yeah, let's see, from the rear wing of the German-Mexican driver, the gap has increased to basically 1.2 seconds. So 1.3 seconds even as they cross the line. So the gap has increased quite a lot. Gustavo Brusensky has just given up, as I said basically a few laps ago. Bravo Racing Team not giving up, but they do. Very unfortunate for him to retire as well. And Teichmann, yeah, as we can see visibly now, running away a little bit off Brusensky and basically saying, "Hey man, it was good fun fighting you, but now let's keep it the way it was before." Unfortunate for Salomon, as I said before, he needs to pressurize as much as he can Teichmann for the end of the race if he wants to keep a chance. Of course, the time Salomon loses at the pit stop will be quite a lot, but then again, it's quite a lot of time will be lost by Teichmann's degrading tires. So it's basically still all very much open for a good chance at the end to see a fight for P1. Anyways, let's go back to the midfield. That's been delivering good show in the meantime, at least on paper, but looks like none of them is running really close to each other. Ragland up into 8th. That's interesting. Did he do a pit stop? Has anyone caught up with the time of Ragland? I'm quite unsure if he did a pit stop, but I can't explain it otherwise. Either he making a pit stop or basically everyone else just running very slowly. Anyways, Miranda trying to catch up to Ragland just in front of him, and looks like he's basically staying inside of the white Repsol Zwingli racing car in front of him, the German versus the Brazilian. Let's see, Angel Gonzalez staying in 10th after his pit stop. He also did it, of course, and Carlos Frau also did a pit stop. Basically, everyone has done at least one pit stop so far in this race, and we are looking prone to get another round of pit stops sooner or later. As you can see, Renato Sperto getting blue flags right here to let, I think, Pedro Lopez pass. I'm getting better at it, at least I realize it immediately when I say the wrong name. Anyways, Pedro Lopez it is for sure, running in, that doesn't help to have them both running right behind each other, at least on timing. Pedro Lopez in 5th, Pablo Lopez in 6th, so the car we look in the background right now is P5, Pedro Lopez, and oh, that's nearly going into the inside of that corner. Oh, there's Teglas also running a little bit slow, let's say, which caught out every one of them, and I think Teglas basically just wanted to let Lopez through as well. That caused a little bit of a chain reaction, but everyone can continue undamaged, or more or less undamaged. Let's see where Pedro Lopez is, of course. In 5th currently. Remember, he was starting in 2nd and had to do everything he can to defend his lead in the championship. Then again, his biggest driver currently is in P14, so he's doing that very well and will surely extend the lead in the championship. Once again, while Teichmann, once again, will surely try everything to jump ahead of Wonders and Gilhood in front of him. Gilhood still being in P4 despite driving P3 actually, despite driving only one race. So Sven, despite you don't like the cars, come on and race with us. That's just an invite for you to return to racing in OWC, and you shall be here, especially after Watkins Glen. Anyways, Pedro Lopez, as I said before, running away with the championship lead or extending it even further if it stays like it is right now. But remember, Pedro Lopez and Gabriel Salomon in front of them still have to come to the pits, and I think both of the OS front row cars as well. So it's been still very open for basically everything to happen. Lap 36 out of 56, we are getting into the final third of the race at this point. Not quite, but we're getting there. That's what I wanted to say. And so we are watching Pedro Lopez going round, and there's an OS front row car in front of him. That must have been Felipe Muniz, is it? Really? Yeah, it is. Definitely Felipe Muniz, as Teichmann once again drives the fast lap of the race so far, and that means that Pablo Lopez is dethroned from that. And yes, he surely tried to bounce back once he did. Actually he can't, because he's on a one-stop strategy. So unless the car weight lifts a lot for Lopez, both of them, it looks like Teichmann will run away with a very dominant fast lap of the race as well. But let's see how fast Pedro Lopez is able to catch up 2 minutes in front of him. Gap has come down to 1.3 seconds from something around 2.3 seconds a few corners ago, basically not more than a lap ago. And Lopez now setting eyes on the target in front of him. And what I was about to say is that basically all of these guys still have to come to the pits, which opens up the door for Pablo Lopez, who doesn't have to return to the pits anymore, and he's just basically in punching distance to Pedro Lopez in front of him. A little bit more than 10 seconds between the two Lopez's, and yeah, that means if Pedro has to come to the pits, once again, sorry for just saying the first name, that Pablo will go through for sure. But now Pedro Lopez will try everything to catch up to the team, countryman in front of him, and he had some bad experiences with OS front row cars this race, but he'll surely try to make it a better experience by this time. And let's see, just look at the difference on braking. I don't know how much fresher the tires of Pedro Lopez are, but I think they're quite a lot better than, at least in terms of level of performance. Oh, Lopez into the wall once again. When you jump on board with these drivers, you can see them getting a little bit clumsy sometimes. But now Lopez definitely in striking distance to Muniz in front of him, and Muniz trying to finish the race for once and actually trying to finish it in the top 5, which he will do as soon as he's been overtaken by Lopez still, which is basically just a question of corners so far. And yes, very, very, very hard for Muniz to stay in front. Oh, Lopez trying to make a move into the hairpin, and he does pull it off actually. He's running Muniz into the wall. Will certainly not be happy too happy about it. Can he capitalize on slipstream? No, he can't for the moment. Of course, Lopez trying the inside line, staying there, but now Muniz has the slipstream. Yellow flags have turned up, so that's certainly not a good way to overtake. Oh, there's been a big collision coming up with Ragland and Teglas involved. And oh, there's been more collisions. Muniz is up into the fountain basically, and it looks like he's stuck there. Oh no, that's very unfortunate. Let's quickly see in the replay what has happened there with Teglas and Ragland just in front of them. They were fighting for position. Sorry. Let's see. Was Ragland just exiting the pits? Yes, he was. And then he was collected by a late braking Teglas. Oh no! And that in the end means the end of the race for Muniz once again. That's super bad luck for the Brazilian. Of course, as I said, Brazilians everywhere. So that's not quite the point. Sorry, I'm trying to find Muniz. He's been stuck in the fountain and he's been pushed there. Not only by the looks of it, not only by Lopez, but also by Ragland. And oh man, that's so unlucky. No, he's not completely stuck. He's trying to continue around the fountain. Let's say if he can move out of it at any later point during the race. But I can tell you what, who's not been too happy about it is certainly... Where's Pedro Lopez gone? Oh, he's going into the pits. Okay, he decided to... Okay, that's enough what's happened before. I'm going to the pits. So Pedro Lopez serving his second and last pit stop of the race already, and trying to basically avoid the running in the pack for as long as he was. Gabriel Salomon has also been into the pits, and I think I didn't have an eye on the gap between them, but Teichmann is 44 seconds up the road, and that's quite a big task for Salomon, but it's not completely impossible. And let's see, Muniz, another DNF. Make it 4 out of 4 in absolutely massively unlucky circumstances, with overlap cars crashing and him basically being the one caught out by it in lap 39 of the race, I shall say. Super unlucky, and I feel really gutted for him, gotta say. Anyways, let's go back to the racing action. That's what happens sometimes, and that's why we are racing at all, aren't we? And let's say Lopez basically exited the pits in... He entered the pits in P4, I think, and returned on track on P6. So not too much ground lost, and he's once again has Volland ahead of him as Isaias now exits the pits, and he's not too far up the road. I think the live timing should actualize itself rather sooner than later. As you can see, Isaias struggling on the cold tires, and yes. However, I think the gap between Isaias and Volland is enough for the moment, so Isaias is most likely staying ahead of Volland. after his pit stop has been served. So did Gabriel Salomon, who's already exiting the pits. Of course, a few laps ago he was in the pits, and now he's back up to race pace in the best circumstances. And now trying to impress Pablo Lopez in front of him, and of course Michael Teichmann, who doesn't have to return the pits for sure. He's on one-stop strategy, and so is Pablo Lopez. But we'll see which strategy is the better one at the very end of the race. Salomon going around, let's say 108.3 compared to 107.9, so he's definitely up on the race pace and trying to catch up as much as he can to Teichmann in front of him. Although the gap has stayed more or less the same, 44 seconds it was a lap ago, and now it's still 44 seconds roughly. Let's say he's still going around. Miranda also into the pits, serving his pit stop, and now he's trying to his second last pit stop, of course, and he will most likely stay in 8th for the moment. Frau is a little bit too far away to catch up to him once again. I think Ragland has also been to the pits. No, sorry, of course he wasn't. He was tangled up in the incident with Lopez, Teglas and himself. So he has dropped to 9th, very unfortunate for him as well. He's just trying to get a good result in for once, I think, and scoring some good points. But he's just 2/10 off, not even, of his fastest lap, his personal fastest lap. So yeah, apparently the crash hasn't. Oof! As I say it, he's going into the wall. I jinxed it once again. Commentator's curse striking again, and he now trying to defend from Pablo Lopez right behind him, but of course Lopez is a lap ahead of, or basically nearly a lap ahead of Ragland, who we are watching at, and of course Ragland himself is trying to not only go into the wall as hard as he can, but trying to catch up to Teglas in front of him, who's also been involved in that very, weird incident, let's say that, and Ragland absolutely ignoring blue flags at this point, and I don't think that Pablo Lopez will be too happy. Now he heard the call, and Ragland letting Lopez through for the position on track, of course, not for position in the order. Anyways, let's say there's been some guys also fighting going on right in front of them. Another pit stop. No, it did not, but we can see Pedro Lopez and Philip Fonant once again, round 2 for this fight. We've seen it before, and now look at how wide Fonant goes. Oh, there's been another misunderstanding between them, and I don't think Fonant will actually make it so easy for Lopez, because Lopez has already been in the pits, as was Fonant, so this is seriously for position, and as long as Fonant can make up a good fight against Pedro Lopez, he will stay ahead, and he has to defend as hard as he can. But it looks like Pedro Lopez basically just breezing past into turn 1, and Folland can't do much about it, but say, hey, that was mine, but it's not anymore. Pedro Lopez, however, of course, with the incident that he's been involved in, perhaps a penalty will follow after that, so we don't know yet for sure. Teichmann has been super slow. Teichmann has lost a huge chunk of time compared to everyone else. Was he into the pits again? I would have been a very interesting call to make, but I don't think so. I think he was just been tangled up in some sort of weird incident, because no, he must have been back to the pits, wasn't he? No, I'm not going to the replay and check, but he's now only 7 seconds ahead, 8 seconds ahead, roughly, of Salomon, his biggest rival for the race lead so far. There's Carlos Frau basically staying in the slipstream underneath the rear wing of Teichmann. So Teichmann, has he run into some sort of issue? It's absolutely strange to say. Could have been explained by cold tires, so Teichmann basically could have been to the pits once again. I'm absolutely kicking myself for not missing that. Sorry, I wish I could provide that, but yeah, very, very odd to say. Teichmann dropping down so much, and Salomon still catching up. I think Teichmann has been to the pits. That's the only way how I can explain it. At least for myself. And Lopez, of course, Pablo Lopez this time by is the big profiteur from that. As you can see in the background, Ragland this time by Teichmann. Teglas made it without any incident, at least from what we can see. So he'll be happy about that. but between Teichmann and Lopez, there's 2 more cars, which are basically, yeah, avoiding Pablo from catching up anytime soon. And I think that's also the position between Ragland and Miranda. So that means it is... yes, so thank you very much, Mark. He's just confirmed that Teichmann has been back to the pits once again. And yes, yeah, so we have been informed Teichmann has indeed been back to the pits once again, getting a fresh set of tires and now capitalizing on it as he's been able to basically run away a little bit from Lopez back behind him. But remember, Teichmann ignoring the yellow line on pit exit in turn 1, meaning that a penalty might follow after that, and for especially doing it every single lap, penalty will surely not be only 5 seconds or something. So Teichmann certainly has to do a much better job than he does right now if he still wants to win the race. Anyways, Lopez now getting absolutely furious, I can imagine, about the cars in front of him fighting. He's been a lap ahead of all these cars that you can see, but we are, yeah, basically we have to... Oh, Ragland, please don't do that to any one of you. He's a lap ahead. Anyways, I don't think Lopez is... Oh, Ragland going by the inside, and he's... Yeah. Okay, clean move. So I don't think Lopez will be too unhappy about that. But then again, that opened up a huge chunk of time for Salomon, and of course Teichmann allowing to run away even further up the road. So yeah, Lopez then again certainly not be too happy about all that squabbling that's going on right in front of him. And he's trying to, well, yeah, he's basically just trying to stay ahead of Salomon, who's coming steaming, breathing steam, steaming into his neck. Sorry, I don't exactly know how to express that correctly. Anyways, Lopez now into the slipstream of the cars in front of him, making profit of the double slipstream that he just got. And Ragland, trying to enforce a move, running on board with Lopez, how to see that ends. But it looks like, for the moment, it's just Lopez being absolutely held up by these guys. And now here is Salomon, basically, like we know from The Shining. Salomon basically just absolutely ignoring track limits into that corner. Of course, the cones are gone, and now he's trying to go around the outside. Oh, what has happened there? Some cars had just disappeared, but he's now back again. But it must have been Lucas Miranda, actually. Yeah, sure, it was. Who's having to see some lag issue. But yeah, Salomon absolutely massively ignoring track limits despite the cones are gone. Track limits still apply, at least to some degree, and Lopez will not be too happy about that either. But now it's Salomon's turn of being held up by that fight that's going on. And now Miranda just says, okay, I've had enough, do whatever you want, and I'll let you all pass. And Lopez will be absolutely, massively fuming about this going on, especially after he's been held up for 2 laps or so by Ragland and Miranda fighting. Now as soon as Salomon is near, they're just giving up. Ragland absolutely on the edge and trying everything he can to stay competitive as long as he can. Of course, it's fair right to do. Once again, Salomon absolutely massively ignoring track limits once again in that corner. Race control will certainly not be too happy about that either. So it's quite up on the table for basically everyone, and as long as Lopez can stay wherever he wants to, or basically where he is right now. Oh, Frau, he's also a lap down, but he still has to fight Ragland just behind Salomon. Salomon trying to break away, and Ragland now going with the slipstream around Frau, and Frau, I'm not quite sure if he's aware of what just happened, and Frau basically just dropping like a stone. Has he run into some weird sort of issue? No, he's not. He's still there, but he just basically let Ragland pass as well. Ragland, of course, making profit out of all of that, and saying, "Hey, if Uber2 can have overtaken Miranda, sorry, and of course now Frau as well, and moving up 2 places by just staying where he was." So, speaking of which, he's still staying ahead of Pablo Lopez, while Pedro Lopez now drove the fastest lap of the race in lap 50 out of 56. So tire wear was an issue, but apparently not for everyone. Meaning of that current running order is Michael Teichmann ahead of Gabriel Salomon, who's Teichmann, of course, overlapping Miranda. Sorry, Wonders, not Salomon, in case you were worried for a second. Salomon is still running in second, ahead of Lopez and Isaias now in fourth. Pedro Lopez up into fifth, but remember, he's been involved in some sort of accident. Angel Gonzalez is currently running in sixth, and Ragland in seventh, as we've seen before. Basically, seeing his tower being lightened up in blue for quite a good portion of the race so far. Frau in 8th ahead of Miranda, and there's been Volland trying to overlap Teglas, and basically there's been one car into the pits. This must have been Thomas Raschke, if I'm not completely wrong. Volland down in P10. He must have been gone to the pits as well, making that second pit stop. So, ooh, that's absolutely late braking, absolutely too late braking. Now tapping onto the tire wall. He was lucky to stay, let his front wing stay there. And now Volland once again has some faster cars behind him, one of which is, funnily enough, Pedro Lopez. Pablo, no. I'm getting annoyed by myself. Pedro Lopez, it is, right, correct. And funnily enough, these two have been fighting before, and now they are not anymore. And yes, Jose, I'm actually not exactly sure how blue flags are applied in this series, but Ragland and Volland are basically just ignoring blue flags as much as they can. Okay, Mark, thank you very much again. Philip Volland indeed had to do another pit stop. He had a flat spot, which is very unfortunate. It was a good result ruined for him, but we are looking at Michael Teichmann at the moment at the final stages of this race. And as I said, it will come into action, as we can see at the very end when everyone comes back together. Teichmann only 8 seconds up the road of Salomon, and with once again extending the track limits right there as well. He's not in the safe zone of winning this race, but he's absolutely dominating it so far on track, and as long as he can stay there where he is and delivering the performance, he will at least win it on track for the moment. Anyways, switching back to some ongoing fights in the background, which is Pedro Lopez against Laszlo Teglas. Of course, this is also not for position either, but Teglas once again ignoring the blue flag and just skipping in front of Philip Volland, who will certainly be not too happy about it. There's just 3 positions between Volland and Teglas behind them, back there, but a whole lap, which is very interesting, of course, in terms of performance delta between these two guys. And let's say, does Pedro Lopez have a chance actually to make an impression on Isaias just in front of him? I kind of doubt it, but it's only 2.4 seconds, and we've seen before that Lopez can pull off quite a lot of pace when it is important, and that's exactly why he's the championship leader and most likely will stay there after the race as well. And see what we can do, or what he can do in the final stages. Just 1.8 seconds right now, so he made up another half a second in just basically the space of 2 corners. But he's running out of time. Lap 53 out of 56. Of course, 56 laps have to be completed, and also for me speaking, 56 laps have to be completed, of course. Anyways, yes, the gap has shrunken down once again a little bit, and Isaias actually should be worried a little bit about the pace of Lopez right behind him. He's in one of the Lopez sandwich, infamous Lopez sandwich. Of course, Pablo Lopez being 8 seconds up the road, so there is no threat at all for Isaias or vice versa. But you can say Isaias by trying everything he can to catch up to the O's front row car in front of him. Of course, we don't want to miss the leader, or basically winning the race, but we also have to play with this fighting pack in terms of results, of course. And Isaias once again lost a little bit of time, despite Lopez back kicking out a little bit out of the corner without the cones anymore, which we saw in the background just before. And Isaias now trying everything to defend from Lopez. He's absolutely pressurizing his own car, Lopez, of course, by going a little bit into the wall. But now the overlap cars come once again into play, and it's going to be very interesting to see if or how the overlap cars will give way. That's Carlos Frau, who's been known for being a little bit sensible about cars around him, and he's just going to the inside and lifting off to say, hey man, I'm a lap down, let's go. As I said before, I don't know how blue flag rules apply in this very series, so it might be a fair chance or fair job of the defending guys just stay where they are, the overlap guys. But then again, it's a little bit different for all the series here at IVRC, and we'll surely try to catch up to it as soon as we can. Okay, we're in lap 55 out of 56, which means we're in the penultimate lap, and we can still see Pedro Lopez trying hard to catch up to the car in front of him. And of course, Michael Teichmann only be 4 seconds ahead of Gabriel Salomon, so Teichmann must have had another big mistake. Let's see, quickly going through the grid to see what's going on. Teichmann has been in the fight with someone. That must have been Berto once again, now 3 laps down. Yes, exactly what we saw in the background. Oh, Berto, no! He's braking too late and he's nearly catching out the leader, which one, this time by at least didn't ignore the track limits into turn 1. Very interesting, but Teichmann is on the last lap of the race, and he'll certainly be happy about it, because you can see a lot of squabbling for position still going on in front of him between Holohan and Angel Gonzalez, that is. Holohan is, of course, once again a lap down, and everyone's just basically trying to stay wherever they were before. And now Holohan trying to go around the outside of Gonzalez, which doesn't work in the background, but we can see Teichmann now 3.4 seconds up the road of Salomon, and Salomon will be so frustrated, because these overlap cars certainly had their play in the result of this race, and once again they're now blocking off Salomon in the background. But Teichmann entering the final corner and now exiting it to cross the line at any moment's time and win around the streets of Long Beach right now. Congrats to him. He won for TR Blue West Motorsports in number 35 machine. Gabriel Salomon already finished in second, and we can now see Pablo Lopez, the first guy with a one-stop strategy, coming across the line right now to finish in third. Good race from him as well. And we can see now, is that for position? No, it's not. That is Isaias. No, sorry, it was for position. There's been a car flying around. Very good. Isaias stayed ahead of Pedro Lopez, who stayed ahead of everyone in the championship lead. Angel Gonzalez finishing in 6th on track. Ragland in 7th, and a good result for him. Miranda in 8th, ahead of Carlos Frau and Philip Volland, both MPG cars, rounding out the top 10. Bernard Roos crossing the line right now to finish in 11th. Richard Wanders has already finished as well. Thomas Raschke for C-Force Racing on his debut, scoring 3 points in P13. Renato Sperto also scoring points in P14. And the final point went to Jonathan Holohan in P15. Also worth mentioning, of course, Laszlo Teglas has been unfortunately 3 laps down, but he finished the race in P16. So the winner is at the moment, it is Michael Teichmann. Best lap of 1:07.6, but the fast lap of the race must have been gone to Pablo Lopez. We can see now Michael Teichmann entering the pits. Let's see if he's available for a quick interview, or if he's not. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it. That's bad news, but okay, it happens. And that means we're also at the very end of the broadcast. And yes, thank you very much for tuning in for today. I hope you all guys enjoyed it as much as I had. And we'll see hopefully each other again in 2 weeks' time for the Nürburgring 6 hours that we'll host here at IVRC. It's not too late to sign up. You still can sign up. And for that huge event that we are doing, and then again we'll see each other for OWC, I think in 4 weeks time, if not completely wrong, on June 7th. That is indeed in 4 weeks time for the Indy 250 here at IVRC. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and until the next time, see you and goodbye.